Hey y'all, welcome back. We are doing an update for the camper topper. Uh, what we are doing today is the wiring in the overhead and the brake light, which is up there. So things that you're going to need are the wiring harness, and what this will do is plug into these, which you can't really see, but maybe you can. These were just somebody spliced, the previous owner spliced in to his bed. What I've gotten is the 4-pin connectors, and it's only using 3 at the moment. If I wire something else up, it's got an open space. I'm sure I can figure something out for that. Another item that is helpful is for my vehicle and for many of the older full size, they have these that go to your 7-pin connector. Mine is located down here at the hitch. Some of the newer models also, and if you changed it, may have it up here in the bed. All it does is unplug your 7-pin, wires in, and it's pre-wired. This is actually a used or modified. Somebody already cut the tail end, which connects to the 4-pin, which is why I have this piece. Excuse me. This piece will wire onto these 3 cut. I'll show that whenever we get to it here in just a second. I'm going to move y'all to the tailgate. This piece here that I've got the blades for sitting here, and that's going to wire onto, it's going to connect onto the cut pieces up here. Optional pieces that I'm going to use. Sorry, let's finish with the what you needs. I've got some heat shrink, just some number 5, or sorry, some 3/16. I've got 5 of them in each package. This comes from Harbor Freight, I think, is where I picked them up. Not positive. I know for sure this one is. I've got a whole pack in case I got the wrong size. I've got a soldering iron over here, and you can tell how much I use it because it is labeled as Radio Shack. So we're going to get into that one. All right, so another thing that you'll probably need is a set of strippers. I like this style. I've had them for a few years, so they've done me pretty well. Back to optional. One thing that I'm using is this pack of wire grommets. I believe they are actually for desks and the like, but they are a 3/4 inch diameter pass-through wire grommet, and I'll show you how we use them. But what I'm doing is I've got a bunch of these holes that are pressed into the bed. I'm putting those in there, number 1, so that I can do pass-throughs, but also just try to reduce the dust that's going to fly in this bed. I'm never going to get it 0% because it's not going to happen, but that might reduce a little bit whenever you've got a whole bunch of 3/4 inch holes pressed in. And I've only found one so far that it's not going to fit. I'll probably just put some electrical tape around it and make that work. So from there, let me move you to the tailgate, and we will go ahead. We'll strip, do everything that we need to do with the wiring. Then we'll do all the running and get through that. So while the soldering iron's heating up, we're going to go over 7-pin and our wiring ideas. So on the 7-pin, it does show, if we can see that, an output, an input, and then up here on your splices, which factory splices, it does show which one is brake, which one is 12 volt, and which one is ground. The wiring coloring is a little off from what I'm used to, but that's okay. What we do have here is just red and white, and our ground, or our black. What we're going to end up using as our ground is obviously. So we'll get through that. We'll get everything we'll get everything stripped and tinned. I'll just go through that. We'll time lapse that because there's no use in taking that at face value. But we'll get everything stripped, tinned. You're not going to attach these just yet. They're going to have to go through your pass-through due to this not going to be able to fit. So we'll throw it through, bring it out the bottom. Then we will splice these together wherever they need to be. We will heat shrink them, and then after that we will move to the cab, to the capper. As you can tell, I just did one. I am not a professional. I do not do this for a living. This is literally the do-it-yourself and learn as you go. So if you have tips, leave them, because I've got some more electrical work to do. I think I've used this probably twice in the last 5 years, so it hasn't really done me too much good. But yeah, we're gonna finish tinning this ground. We'll go ahead and we'll tin the 7-pin splices, and then I'm gonna bring y'all back on. So as I mentioned earlier, the white on this 7-pin is the ground. Let's talk about the 7-pin real quick. I know this is out of order for what my project and what my video is going to be, but for older model Fords, at least, this is the 300100 7-way. The newer Fords, at least, I'm not positive on the other makes, but I'm pretty sure they're about the same, is 300200. That's the part number for this. I believe you can get it from Leer. I picked it up from a Leer dealer here in Round Rock, Line X Round Rock. So he handed me this one for this make and model. I actually did double check in the while trying to research all this and how to set it up. So that's where I got the second part number. If you look online, you should be able to find these pretty simply. I believe I actually spotted one as well, the full setup without having to do the splicing portion on Amazon. Will not have the link because I'm not positive for it, but double check Amazon for me and you should be able to find that. We are going to hook the ground from the 7-pin to our thicker black wire here on our pigtail. That's just going to get me back to, in my mind, correct. And then we will hook the red to black, or sorry, red to red, and then red and white to black. That is, red is our brake line, our brake light. Our black is our 12 volt. So that's our actual all on power. So we should be able to fix that. That'll be able to go to our, if you have a 12 volt cigarette port adapter, power adapter, or if, like me, you have the dome light. That's where that one will end up. So we're going to solder those together. Don't forget to put your heat shrink on. I know I've done that plenty of time on projects, and you get everything soldered together and then find out, oh, yeah, I messed up. So then you get to redo the work. I'm not going to trim these. I'm just going to put the entire thing on just because I have them here and I should have plenty to do all my projects. And we will get to those projects in a later video. I'm trying to do these segment by segment instead of doing all the projects for the day onto one. So as I'm getting closer to being done with this portion, I want to reiterate, I do not know what I'm actually doing, but so far it's working. I had a little bit of a hiccup early on. I think my soldering iron cooled down a little bit too much. But hey, if you're going to go to the comments and say, oh, I don't know what the hell this guy's doing, he has no clue what's going on, you're absolutely correct. But go ahead, make the comments, because as you comment, it gives this thing more views, and honestly, that's what I need. I just passed 100 subscribers last week, so that's really cool. I like all of y'all. But I could always do it some more. You know, somebody else might want some of these projects. But yeah, so real quick, I'm gonna go find a lighter. I think I've got one in the truck. I may have to go inside and grab one, who knows. But we just got done with the tin, tinning together all this stuff, soldering it all together. And then I got the, shrink wrap. I also took from my bigger kit some larger diameter. That way I can go over all three of these, shrink wrap those all together. That way at least that connection is kind of kept in one. The rest of the run up to the cap is in a loom already. I don't think I have any of that, so if I do, that would really surprise me. But for now, we're just gonna shrink wrap that. We might even go by and just put some electrical tape to keep that together. But let's move forward with this. Like I said, get a lighter, shrink that all together, make it look pretty, and then we will do the same to our tail end. I probably won't show that one. I don't know how much of this is actually going to get shown, but I'm going to go ahead because I'm going to cut way up here. It's kind of in an awkward position to where I'd be videoing weird areas. You'll just have to take my word for it. We will show that finished product and get an idea of what's going on. Hopefully this all worked out as planned. All right, down here by the bumper, by the rear spare tire, all that fun stuff, as you can see, you've got your trailer pit, your trailer pins, connections. You've got your 4-pin on one side, you've got your 7-pin on this side. So again, on your box here, you see an input and an output. So what I'm going to do is right here, if you can kind of tell where I'm at, it's about probably a foot back from the, it's actually where the original bumper probably fit, but it's got a pass-through connection. I was going to slide it in a little bit better than this, but yeah, I didn't think this whole thing through, and that's okay. It'll all work out. What I should have done is come down through this tail light. I know you can't see it, but the tail light above me on the driver's side. What I should have done is come through it and drop down. There's a channel through the frame that would have worked a lot better than what I did. Since I've already done the connection, I'm not disconnecting it. I'm just gonna wire it in and make it work. So we will see. It looks like there is a way to slide it all the way through. So I'm actually going to jump into that same channel and see if I can run over and into the, ooh, that hurt. A little bit of rust. Run through with some other electrical lines. Hopefully this will do what I want and not have to record all of this. Not acting like it wants to go. Let's check. There we go. So as I said, it takes a little bit of finagle. Honestly, it would have worked easier to remove the spare tire. That way you can get a little bit more of yourself in this position. Luckily for me, I'm a little bendy and a little small, so it worked out pretty well. Let me finish this. There's no reason y'all should be watching me struggle with this. I'm gonna finish bringing this in, and then I'll bring you back. All right, so 2 things. Number 1, I did finally get this through. Let's talk of lessons learned real quick. Lessons learned number 1. The route that I brought this through, I should have figured out a better way to bring it down the frame instead of just down the side of the bed. Not on the outside, obviously, interior. Lesson learned number 2 is I should have run this wire through that channel and then brought it out here, and you can see where my splice is. Got plenty of room. I could have spliced out here. That would have been my better bet overall. This did get caught up pretty well in there. It's just a pain to get through. But now that it's here, it's done, and all of this slack that is pulling down here will actually be pulled back up into the cap in order to fit to the pigtail that will be in there here in the next few minutes. Back to this 7-pin, you can see there's some space behind it. I actually had backed into something at one time, so I'm hoping this will give me enough room to plug this in, and it's just going to plug in one side to here on the inside, and one side will go onto that line that is currently running. I also can tell where my reverse lights were pigtailed in by a company, which isn't a problem other than when it gets cold or wet, that connection sucks. Here, nowhere there. But I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get this disconnected, and it's just a push pin that will disconnect off the back. It'll plug into this one, or yeah, this pigtail will plug in to this input. The output will go back here. Double check me. Yeah, should be right. So we will start over from that. All right, let's talk about what I found. So, as you can tell, I took the entire damn thing off. What ended up happening, like I said, I'd backed into something a while back. Between that, a few floods, etc., hurricanes, everything, I was not able to get this pin off from where it was. It was just too close to my hitch. So there were two 10mm bolts holding this bracket on. Not a big deal. It's all I needed to get out of the way. The keeper pin, it was actually broke inside of here. So I'm going to end up figuring out a good way to keep it connected. But from what we have your input side, and we're just gonna clip that in. Sorry, your output side, and your input side is over here. Clip that in, and this is the side that no longer has this keeper. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to just wedge it in for now. I'm not positive that worked. I think it came back out. But for the moment, that is all I'm actually gonna mess with. What I would do is get some zip ties, which I will here in just a minute. Get some zip ties. I'm gonna zip tie it up in here, get it away from that spare tire. At the same time, I'm gonna check my clearance up there. Should be good to go. But as far as this portion, I just want to get it kind of out of the way, and then I'll strap it back in here. As you can see, it'd be everywhere, so I'm just gonna find something that I can kind of clean it up, strap it to a couple of these other lines that are in here, and that'll be it for this portion. But now you see where it connects, what it's doing. Let's go back up top. So we're back inside. You can see here where the tail end, where the power end of that is. So we've got probably about 14, 16 inches of usable. And that's just gonna come back up here. I might Velcro something to keep it up. I doubt it. We're just gonna bring right about here, and we'll put that tail into the lights line. You can see I put the grommet. This is very awkward positioning, but I put that pass-through electronics grommet right here into one of these holes. There's actually one on this side, but it's a little bit larger. I probably should have done that one instead. I don't know. I guess that would be about a 5/8 hole there. If you did that one, you would have come down the tail light, and like I said, down straight into that channel that we ran underneath. I'm going to end up back down there putting a zip tie. That's my own thoughts going on right now. Zip tying that into a good location so it doesn't move and cut my line down there. So like I said, I'm just gonna run in here, snap these off, resolder a tail on that one. Actually, correction, I'm not going to solder that tail. I've got spades to go around that to connect to that pigtail. So that will actually be a lot simpler than the connection that I did earlier. Unfortunately, I'm not positive on how those all work, but I believe they're barbed. Should be able to just push pin into that tail. If it does give me issues, I'll tell you how to do it, but this is the connection. That is a horrible connection. Maybe this one's dirtier. There we go. So it just wraps around that line, around that wire, and it push pins into that power block. So that should be really simple, and that should give me power to this dome light in here, as well as the third brake light, and make me legal again for all this. After that, we've got some more small projects. So if you see that, that'll be coming up. Like I said earlier, this is a week by week project. So I'll be putting out probably Mondays. I believe I sent the first one out on a Friday. It messed up my whole schedule. That's okay. Let's get this put together. I'll show you the wiring. I'll show you how to do all this fun stuff. Hopefully you'll learn something. We're gonna do an actual outro here in a minute. Be back. So it's been a few days. I actually had to go get parts for splicing that all back together. I broke some of the pins. It's all right. Live and learn. So anyway, this is all hooked up. What I ended up doing, bring you all a little closer. I ended up just marking it because it did take a few days to go get the parts and track down the pins. They were P07. I don't know if that actually makes a difference as far as what they were, but they were labeled P07s. What I ended up doing was splicing the ground together, the two blacks, and then I marked them so that I actually knew what was going on. This is the dome, the 12 volt side, and then the brake line, or the brake light. So I did bring them, like we talked about before, through this same hole. What I needed to do was actually rearrange, but that's okay. I've already got everything wired in, and that should do for that one. What I do have to do, these are an old set up here. My dome light and my brake light are probably the originals. The cap was built in 2006, pre-wiring LED stuff in. So I have a old halogen bulb that I need to track down, and then it should have that little switch, and that'll be the end of that project. So I wanted to close this one out. I did go and pick up a few other project materials. One being a set of rhino racks, not a big project, just installing those. And the other, which I've got some that are open, I'm going to be adding D-rings to my roof, where the racks are attached. You've got the bolt that comes through. Dirty carpet. So I'm going to make these bolts a little longer. I'm going to add about a 1/4 inch to them. That way I can put a fender washer and those D-rings in so that I can have some overhead. That video will be coming up pretty soon. Probably within the next couple weeks, obviously. So pay attention, watch for that. Share the video, like, subscribe, do the YouTube algorithm thing, and yeah, we'll see you back on the next one.